so-called yoga class and thus become a yogi. One has to practice controlling the mind and avoiding all kinds of sense gratification, of which sex life is the chief. In the rules of the celibacy written by the great sage Yajnavalkya, it is said, Karmana manasa vacha sarvavastasu sarvada sarvatra maituna tyago brahmacharyam prachakshate. The vow of brahmacharya is meant to help one completely abstain from sex indulgence in work, words, and mind at all times, under all circumstances, and in all places. No one can perform correct yoga practice through sex indulgence. Brahmacharya is taught, therefore, from childhood, when one has no knowledge of sex life. Children at the age of 5 are sent to Gurukula, or the place of the spiritual master, and the master trains the young boys in strict discipline of becoming brahmacharis. Without such practice, no one can make advancement in any yoga, whether it be dhyana, jnana, or bhakti. One who, however, follows the rules and regulations of married life, having a sexual relationship only with his wife, and that also under regulation, is also called a brahmachari. Such a restrained householder, brahmachari, may be accepted into the bhakti school, but the jnana and dhyana schools do not even admit householder brahmacharis. They require complete abstinence without compromise. In the bhakti school, a householder brahmachari is allowed controlled sex life because the cult of bhakti yoga is so powerful that one automatically loses sexual attraction. Being engaged in the superior service of the Lord, in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 59, it is said, Vishaya vinivartante niharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Whereas others are forced to restrain themselves from sense gratification, a devotee of the Lord automatically refrains because of superior taste. Other than the devotee, no one has information of that superior taste. Vighata bhi. One cannot be fearless unless one is fully in Krishna consciousness. A conditioned soul is fearful due to his perverted memory, his forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with Krishna. The Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 2, verse 37 says, Bhayam dvitya bhiniveshata syad ishad apatesya viparyayo smritihi. Krishna consciousness is the only basis for fearlessness. Therefore, the perfect practice is possible for a person who is Krishna conscious. And since the ultimate goal of yoga practice is to see the Lord within, a Krishna conscious person is already the best of all yogis. The principles of the yoga system mentioned herein are different from those of popular so-called yoga societies. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udapad Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Very well, dear devotees, I hope you all are well. I hope you had a wonderful weekend at the wonderful Anlanik City Rath Yatra. We also had our Sunday Love Feast yesterday. We had the wonderful association of Sachinandan Swami Maharaj as well as Jayadutta Swami Maharaj. So I'm not sure about all of you, but I'm definitely, my body is a little tired. I'm a little sick, but I feel very spiritually full and very happy after such a wonderful weekend. So today, before I start, I would also like to thank all of you for being here and Sumesha Prabhuji for giving me this opportunity to study Bhagavad Gita deeply and prepare diligently for all of you and have a nice discussion with all of you at the end. So thank you very much, Sumesha Prabhuji. So today, one more thing, I'd also like to thank Srila Prabhupada because I had heard such a beautiful lecture today. And because Srila Prabhupada, he's so incredibly intelligent about all the different yoga societies, dhyana, bhakti, jnana. I learned so much from the lecture. And so everything I'm going to say is all just small snippets from the beautiful lecture I heard today. So thank you, Srila Prabhupada. So today we will be continuing, since Friday, our beautiful discussion on Sankhya Yoga, which is the form of yoga that was originally taught by Kapila Muni to his mother Devahuti. And so it's explained a little bit about focusing one's mind upon the Vishnu Murti, which is located in the heart. And so we'll talk a little bit about that, but this is a continuation from 6.11 and 6.12, which was discussed in Friday's class. So I'd like to recap a little bit of all of the different rules that Yogeshwara, the master of all mystics, Lord Krishna, tells that the yogis should do. So Krishna is known as Yogeshwara, who is known as the master of all mystics. So if any mystic would like to elevate themselves, the best teacher is Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna is telling these things to Arjuna. In 6.11, it's mentioned one should be in a solitary place. So you can see this picture over here. So BBT art picture. The yogi is in a solitary place. It's in a sacred place. So it can be in a holy dham like Puri, Vrindavan, by the banks of the Yamuna or the Ganga. So it's in a very sacred place. Then you will see on the bottom over here, the sage is sitting upon a mat of kusha grass. And on top of that is a mat of deer skin. And so one thing that one thing I had a question was actually, why deer skin? Why a skin of a deer for this practice? And so I was hearing the lecture and Srila Prabhupada makes this comment. The deer skin has some medical properties that keep away snakes from coming and attacking the yogi. So to keep the snakes away, this deer skin is laid out because the yogi is in the forest. There's so many different animals and creatures. Some deer skin is laid out, so he's protected. Then on top of that, there's a soft cloth that is placed on top. And so the seat of the yogi is not too high, not too low. It's a Goldilocks position. It's just right. And then the yogi must sit very firmly on the asana. So now we're moving on to 6.13 and 14, where Krishna goes on to describe some more traits of this yoga asana. So he mentions that the yogi should sit straight. So he specifically says the body, the neck, and the head are erect in a straight line. So in a straight line. And the yogi will stare at the tip of one's nose. So you'll see over here, the yogi's eyes are almost closed, but not fully closed. So the eyes are 1/10 open. And the reason is, Srila Prabhupada mentions this in the lecture, is he explains very funnily. As soon as we close our eyes, we fall asleep. And in the class, Srila Prabhupada makes some snoring noises right now, which I won't make, but it's very funny. And so as soon as one closes their eyes, automatically the mind starts wandering and you start to fall asleep. So although the rule is cha anavalokayam, not looking at any other direction, but this is only possible when our gaze is absolutely not looking anywhere. So right now on my desk, there are so many things. There's this water bottle, there's this notebook, there's this book, everything is grabbing my attention. But if I want to focus on this class or focus within myself, I need to narrow my gaze down to one single spot. And so the spot that is mentioned over here is nasika agram, at the tip of the nose. So we can try this right now. If we bring a pen or your finger close to straight in front of you, you can focus on the tip of that pen and then bring it close. And you'll see as you bring it closer to your nose and you stare at the tip of your nose, your gaze is 1/10 open. All of your gaze is narrowed, but it's still open. This allows one to narrow down their gaze, but not completely, so that they fall asleep like this. So we sit straight, we narrow our gaze, we don't look anywhere else, but there's also more there. We have to, the yogi is mentioned to have an unagitated mind. So you can see over here in this picture, in the background, the yogi is by a lake. So there's some cranes with some long beaks, a parakeet making some noise at the side. There's so many different distractions. A lion might be in this forest as well that this yogi is sitting in. But the yogi has to be fearless, vighata bhi, without fear. So we already have such a high order for us to be without fear for this external surroundings that are around us. So unagitated mind, no fear. And one more thing, brahmacharya vrate. As mentioned by Yajnavalkya in this text, karmana manasa vacha. So not only does one hold the brahmacharya vrata by their body, by their work, but also by their words. They do not talk about sex. They do not think even about sex. So these are very high orders, given especially in this age where we live in an incredibly pornified world where everything around us is screaming at us regarding sex life. So it's an incredibly high order, especially in Kali Yuga, to follow these rules. So we have solitary place. Well, it's very difficult to find a solitary place in New Jersey. A sacred place. Well, we live in North America. It's quite difficult to find Vrindavan here. The kusha grass, deer skin, a soft cloth, not too high, not too low, sit firmly, an unagitated mind. That seems very difficult as well. So all of these are very high orders. But the goal is one. The goal is to meditate on Krishna. And so the number one example I thought of when I was reading this was of Narada Muni. He was a young boy, and he was also practicing brahmacharya vrata from a very young age. And when he goes to the forest to meditate, his goal is fixed primarily on the Vishnu Murti within his heart. And by meditating on this Vishnu Murti, it is explained that he feels happiness that he has never known before, that permeates his body, and he feels so jubilant upon feeling this experience of Krishna consciousness. And so this is the goal that he has. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada explains also in the purport that those people who have no program to realize this Vishnu Murti are uselessly engaged in mock yoga practice and certainly wasting their time. So whenever we think of yoga in the common world today, it's often has to do with some yoga, some asana, some stretching to open up the body and the muscles. But that's not true yoga. Yoga process is meant to connect us back to Krishna. And so the one missing link between these mock yoga practices is, the two missing links are, one, the brahmacharya vrata, complete abstinence from sex life, and two, the ultimate goal of life, which is Krishna. So without these two links, whatever yoga practice we do, whether we do child's pose or whether we do Surya Namaskar, whatever we do, it will be incomplete. No matter how tall we sit with our dhyana mudras, no matter what we do, without the ultimate goal in mind, Krishna, we won't be able to get to any sort of goal, any sort of spiritual enlightenment. So here it's mentioned that Krishna is within everyone's heart. So Narada Muni is seeking that beautiful vision of Krishna within his own heart. So another thing that's mentioned is complete abstinence from sex life. So the brahmacharya vrata, this was also done by Narada Muni. And he has this incredible realization from his practice of bhakti yoga. And Srila Prabhupada speaks strongly about this in the very end. He says, no one can make advancement in any yoga, whether it be dhyana, jnana, or bhakti, without the practice of brahmacharya, without the practice of abstinence from sex indulgence. But given that it is very difficult, given that it's so difficult, sense gratification is absolutely everywhere, wherever we see it. It won't take you a few clicks on social media to find this very pornified world that we live in. But Yajnavalkya, he gives this very high order, complete abstinence from sex life in work, words, and mind. So we have a very high order in front of us. But Srila Prabhupada, being how kind he is, he mentions in the purport, no one can make advancement, whether it be dhyana, jnana, or bhakti, but at the end, in the true Srila Prabhupada style, he says, in the bhakti school, a householder brahmachari is allowed controlled sex life because the cult of bhakti is so powerful that one automatically loses sexual attraction, being engaged in the superior service of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada, he makes this statement that one can engage, given that we're engaged in the selfless service practice that will take us, give us higher taste. And when I was just reading this over here, the one person who came to mind in this, under all circumstances, all times, in all places, was the example of Haridas Thakur. A beautiful woman comes to him at night to allure him, and it is nighttime. No one would know. It's actually explained. The 3 A's of addiction are accessibility, anonymity, and affordability. So accessibility meaning it's everywhere. It's accessible. It's accessible everywhere. Anonymity, well, it's at night. No one will know who it is. And affordability, well, it was free. So these are the 3 A's of addiction. And this also goes for any sort of alcohol addiction or social media addiction, anything, any sort of thing this can be applied to. the 3 A's of addiction. But here, Haridas Thakur, because he's so absorbed, he's so he's fully in the depths of his Krishna, fully feeling the effects of the holy name. He does not have any desire to engage in what is called the chief of all sense gratification, sex life. So by the power of Krishna consciousness, one can automatically get there. Of course, it will take practice, it will take detachment, it will take time, but one will get there. And so I was actually talking to, this is my personal realization, I was talking to a new devotee recently, and we were just talking about, it's not that related, but we were talking about vegan alternatives for milk. And I was telling this Prabhuji, I love cow's milk so much. I can't possibly go vegan. I can't possibly do this. And this Prabhuji replied, well, once you try these alternative milks, then automatically you will have a higher taste. You'll automatically get a different taste for it. And so I was thinking this is kind of related when we are very stuck with whatever is around us. We don't get to try whatever is outside. So when we get to try Krishna consciousness, just like say almond milk or soy milk or oat milk over just cow's milk, then automatically we can taste the difference and lose that desire. And this is a small example I was thinking that came to mind regarding how our taste can change. The another thing, last thing that Krishna mentions, he mentions brahmacharya vrata in this verse. He mentions the subdued mind, and the last thing he mentions in regard to the mind. So we have body, and we also have mind. The last thing he mentions regarding the mind is fearlessness. Vigata bhi. One cannot be fearless unless one is fully in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada writes. And why is this? Why is it that when we are in Krishna consciousness, we are fearless? It is explained in the previous paragraphs how Lord Krishna is always within the heart of every living entity. So within the heart of a cow, or an elephant, or a peacock, or a small ant, or a fly, or me, Krishna is always present. So we are never ever alone. We are always in the company of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the most powerful, the most compassionate person in the entire cosmic manifestation. So knowing that fact, one can be fearless. So that is the explanation on to how one can be fearless, not by getting so powerful, getting so many bodyguards. Still, one can be so anxious in life, but unless one is fully dependent on Krishna, it's explained. Atma samarpane gelo bhiman. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he mentions how upon surrendering to Lord Krishna, he feels that he will no longer attempt to protect himself or take care of himself, because he knows that he is always in the protection of Lord Krishna. So this small example of one of our acharyas, it's explained how we can be fearless under the protection of Giridhari, of Lord Krishna. Right. So I've mentioned the bodily traits of this true yogi is sitting straight. The eyes are 1/10 open. He is what else? He is upon he's in a secluded place and a sacred place with kusha grass, deer grass, and a soft cloth, in a not too high or not too low position. And he's sitting firmly with a straight back. With all of these traits, these are all of the bodily traits, but then there are also some mind traits, which are the unagitated mind, no fear, as well as a brahmacharya vrata, not even thinking of sex life. And so the last part, and I believe this is, we have body, we have mind, and now we have heart. So we have aligned our body, we have aligned our mind, but now we have to align our heart. And that can only be done when we meditate on that person who is within our heart, the Vishnumurti, Krishna. So by meditating on Krishna and placing him as the ultimate goal of life, that is the heart of our yoga practice. And so by evoking these feelings of devotion towards Lord Krishna and by meditating upon him, Narada Muni, being a small boy, he attained perfection. So can we. I would like to read a small part of a Prabhupada lecture that really spoke to me when I was hearing it. He was explaining how in some so-called yoga societies, so it's a high order for us to abstain from sense gratification in such a difficult way, given that we live in an incredibly impulsive world. So how do we do this? And so Srila Prabhupada explains that yoga practice, we all want something sublime. He says it so emphatically, it totally touched my heart. We want something sublime at a very cheap price. We want something incredible that will totally change our lives, but at a very cheap price. So we want to be cheated, he says. We want to be cheated. And so we need to pay the price for yoga. We need to pay the price for bliss. And without paying that price, in this case, detaching oneself from the body, without paying that price, we will never ever get to the place we need to be in Krishna consciousness. So this Sankhya Yoga system taught by Kapila Muni, it seems to be very distant from our Krishna conscious tradition, but some things are still applicable. So we are not going to be able to go to a solitary place, a sacred place, sit on kusha grass, a deer skin or soft cloth. We won't be able to do all of these things. We won't be able to have an unagitated mind. 9 times out of 10, it will be difficult to subdue the mind and have no fear and to not think about sex. But still, by we can still put some of these practices into our chanting, which is our main form of meditation, our main form of devotional service. So I would like to read a little bit from this book called The Living Name by Sachinandan Swami Maharaj. And it talks a little bit about aligning the body, mind, and soul, as Lord Yogeshwara, Lord Sri Krishna mentions in this verse. So one thing that was mentioned in this verse is posture is important. So Maharaj gives this story that I would like to read of a very happy sadhu. So there was once a very happy sadhu who tried to help a man who came to him for counsel. The man was always depressed and sad. He had developed a habit of hunching over his head, dropping his head downward, and his shoulders slumped forward. No matter how much the sadhu tried, he could not help lift this man's spirit. One day, when the man returned to the sadhu, he was surprised to find the sadhu hunched over like himself, proclaiming with excitement, "It works! It works! I'm also becoming depressed." So Srila Prabhupada, it's explained how in one of his tapes, they were all chanting together, and he admonishes this one devotee, "Sit properly." And so we cannot deny the importance of posture in our chanting practice. So I can speak from my own life. sometimes, most of the time when I chant, it's not very straight. I'm not very focused. I'm not always in the zone. I'm not always in the yoga zone. Oftentimes I'm leaning across against the bed, maybe like this, and my head is like this, and I'm just chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. My mind is not in there. And part of that is because my posture is not right. So making this quick fix of setting our posture right and getting into the yoga zone. Over here, you'll see the yogi has his fingers in the Dhyana Mudra. So that is when the ring finger is put against the thumb like this, and it is to help with blood circulation. So all of these things can help our chanting be more precise. When we are focused, when we are attentive to Krishna, Krishna will listen to us. If we are not aligned in this way, so many lessons will be placed before us in life, but we will not be able to catch them because we are not there, we are not present. So aligning the mind, aligning the body, and aligning the heart especially is key in Krishna consciousness. So can just look through. So one thing Satyananda Swami Maharaj mentioned is posture, sitting straight for better concentration. So we sit straight, and we can try this right now. Sitting straight, you can roll out your shoulders. One thing also to do the kusha grass and deer skin. So the yogi is sitting on an uplifted seat. So his body is at a higher place than his legs. So you can also mimic this. This you might not have deer skin or kusha grass at your home, but maybe you have a flat pillow at home that you can sit on top of to make your posture more straight. So you can fix your posture like that. So posture and then pronunciation. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Are we saying every syllable correctly? And we listen as we hear those holy names enter our ears. So by this practice of meditation, we can be more conscious of Krishna. So those are some tips I have gleaned from this book regarding yojana, or the aligning of the body and mind and heart. So all of these things that were mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna, and all of these very difficult rules that were mentioned by Kapila Muni to Devahuti Maharani in the Srimad Bhagavatam, they seem very distant from us, that we can chant and be happy. But actually, it's quite difficult, especially for me. So what I'm trying to do and put into my bhakti practice more, and I will try to do by telling you all of you now, is I will try to sit straighter and be more attentive in my chanting. So with these tips, I would like to end the class. We can have some discussion. I would love to hear all of your thoughts on this topic of meditation and how this asana practice can help, or maybe it doesn't help, our Krishna consciousness. That's all for today. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Surabhi. Dasi. Wonderful class, wonderful explanation, nicely put together the points. Thank you so much. So, dear devotees, anybody would like to reflect?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I have one question.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, Mataji was talking about Vishnu Murti, right? So I don't have the purport in front of me. I just wanted to understand, is Vishnu Murti is equal to Lord Krishna? Means Vishnu Murti represents Lord Krishna here?
Yes, Prabhuji. I can read a little bit from the purport. So Srila Prabhupada mentions, within the heart of every living being is the Paramatma, the four-handed Vishnu form. This is the localized form of Vishnu, and it is the plenary representation of Krishna dwelling within one's heart. So it is Krishna, but it is the plenary representation of Krishna. Um,
It's Shirodakshai Vishnu. It's like Shirodakshai Vishnu.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mata.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Anybody else? No comments? No reflections? Yeah, we have a lot of time. Let's have some discussions on this topic.
Maybe we can discuss how important is asana practice to our Krishna consciousness? Is it important, or is it just hokey pokey? Is this all sitting straight, breathing? Is it necessary for our Krishna consciousness? Is it not? I would like to hear all of your thoughts.
I think it's Hare Krishna Mataji. I think it's very necessary. It's of extreme importance. Your body posture, because if you relax yourself, too much, then again, you are in so much comfort position that, you may either laze or, sleep or whatever. But yes, you have to be alert. And for that matter, sitting up straight helps. So definitely body posture. A good thing is I just want to also bring up a few points, what you just highlighted. So, another experience when we were in the Rath Yatra and we installed the Kennedy Plaza. One of the Mataji, she was doing meditation practice with Neeta Mataji. She was holding meditation sessions. Sorry, I might have lost you. You hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I hear you now.
Okay, so yeah, she was explaining people. So a couple of things I take away from this session is also that, it's important to let people know that take fear out of your mind when you chant. I wish we had these tips, just to make them more effective, when it comes to chanting. And again, the unagitated mind, people's been bring back so much load, when they walk in, and just ask them to free your mind and just not be agitated or just not be thinking anything else, but just be thinking or focusing on name or the holy name. Because at that point, holy name is what you stress upon, because Krishna name is important, because they cannot picture the Krishna, some of them. And the reason I'm saying is because these people who were just coming into the stall and unnecessarily learn so much about Krishna. But yes, for that matter, focusing on the name is also as good. So yeah, glad, and I was thinking about closing your eyes 1/10. I wasn't sure, like, how do you do that? I haven't done it. My eyes are either fully open or fully closed. But
Yeah, I also don't know how to fully close or fully open my eyes.
I'll research on this. Something to think about. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
1/10 open. I was looking into this. Why the tip of the nose? So mentioned that by Srila Prabhupada, it was mentioned that we don't want to fully close our eyes because we'll fall asleep. But if we just focus on the nose, and I think there's some chakra, I don't know very much about it, but I was searching it up. There's some chakra that helps us be more grounded in the body when we focus on the nose. So I think that's the reason why. Maybe some more yoga masters can teach us more. But,
Thank you, Mataji. It was very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I really like the point you made about taking fear out of your mind when you chant.
Yeah.
Because there are so many Westerners, and we're bringing this holy name from India. That what they might be thinking, oh, are they doing some hypnosis on me? Are they doing something like this on me? But by taking fear out of their mind, this is just Krishna's name. They can experience it more deeply.
Right.
Prem Sarovar, Radhika Mataji, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, wonderful class, Surabhi. There's definitely this yogic practice, Astanga Yoga, whatever we call, is definitely good practice. First of all, it helps definitely to concentrate and focus. And sometimes also it, if we see in the morning time, if we sit in a nice posture and we meditate on the holy name, the chanting becomes better and we can focus more. So that definitely helps us. As long as it is helping us, bringing Krishna close to us, close to our heart, and close to our tongue, definitely it is a good way. But sometimes what happens in the name of yoga, we become a little bit obsessed about it, and at the end, what we think that we instead of thinking about the mind, or or about the soul, we think about the body. Then we start the bodily platform, then we do something, we see so many so many outside, like fitness freaks are there. What they do, in the name of the yoga, they do a lot of yogas, and they use it in a different way. They show their body, they become bodybuilder, and they show something. No, that's it, that's a different way to look at it. But in our case, since we're devotees, definitely we need a healthy body and healthy mind to do our sadhana, so that we can, we can nicely focus on Krishna. If we have a good body and good health, definitely we can focus on Krishna, we can do more devotional service. In meditating in that way, if we do our yogic practices, definitely that is going to help us. So I just wanted to add this point here. Hope this helps.
Thank you, Mama. Yeah, I also think that sometimes we can get obsessed about our yogic practice. I remember there was a time when I used to watch these yoga with Adrian videos all the time and do yoga in front
Yeah.
of TV.
And yeah, that's nice. Yeah, and I just wanted to also add on. Recently, there are few videos have come out. Like now, this Annavasara period is going now. Sorry, this COVID time is going on. If we see last 2 years in Jagannath Puri, there is no servitors, no devotees pulling the chariot. So what in Puri, like Jagannath Puri, like Jagannath ji have few servitors. Their main work is to that they have to become fit, so that when Jagannath is become some terror attack or something is going on, they have to rescue Jagannath ji. So and they have to, their only job is to lift Jagannath ji. That is the only thing they have to. So whole year they prepare their body in such a way that during Rathatra time they're going to help. So I think there are few videos were circulating that how these 4 or 5 devotees used to carry Jagannath ji from during this COVID time to the chariot, and in fact they pull the entire chariot also. So just meditating on those line also, because they were saying that their entire life is dedicated to Lord Jagannath. They don't go anywhere else. So that was also one kind of way they think that they are using practice this yogic practices to become some like little bit instrumental in the devotional service. So just wanted to share this also.
Thank you, Mama. So does anyone else have any thoughts regarding this? I think sometimes in the name of yoga, we can often get little turn, like bhakti yoga. It doesn't seem like a yoga in common terms, but it is yoga because we're connecting with God. It's actually the most perfect form of yoga. Does anyone feel like the yoga practice actually takes away from Krishna consciousness sometimes? Mona Mataji?
Hare Krishna. This is Mona. Very nice class, Surabhi. Very enlightening. And so just wanted to add that, when you said about chakras, one of my friends, I just met in a coaching class and I was chanting at that time. So she just asked me that, what are you doing? And we just entered into that spiritual discussion. So I was speaking about Krishna consciousness. And she was into the yogic practice. So every morning she used to do meditation. And the reason why she used to do meditation was opening up the chakras. So what she says is like all our chakras are dormant, they are sleeping. And that's the reason why sometimes we are not able to focus clearly, or, sometimes we have mental health or mental issues, physical issues, whatever. So and she sent me a video and I was just looking into it. So what happened was they actually focus on each and every like point of chakras, starting from say belly button and then going up near the heart and then near the shoulder and then just focusing on the forehead, like in middle of the forehead, and then just putting your hand on the head just to, and just rub it so that the negative energy goes out and, you are at peace from within. So I believe, and she was like, let's practice once. And I did it. And I felt so nice that I was able to chant properly. I was able to, focus. And internally, that day I visited temple as well. We had Sunday feast. And I could feel that energy, a positive energy flowing through. And I was able to relate to, Kirtan in a very positive way. So I think that, yes, I mean, sometimes it does help into Krishna consciousness if we see that there are some, I mean, it could be interrelated. I don't know. I was just experimenting, but this is what I found out, that, that there are some chakras and it is dormant, and you just kind of concentrate on those into a form of that yogic practice, so that it kind of, you relate, you connect with those. And then when it opens up, your entire energy flows and it connects with Krishna. I mean, whatever you want to do it, I mean, if it is chanting or you're focusing on work, whatever, whatever your goal is. So I think it's just the flowing of energy. That's what in reality that means. I mean, that's what they taught. I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong, but this is what I realized, out of that.
I'm glad to hear. I mean, yeah, that's so beautiful to hear that this yoga practice positively impacted your temple experience and chanting experience.
Yeah. I mean, if we go deep, everyone has different perceptions and it's a very deep meaning, but yeah, whatever we could experience.
So, Meshra Prabhuji, do you have any closing statements or?
Yeah. Yes, I think sometimes we do have this misconception that yoga is different from other yoga. Bhakti yoga includes all the other yogas. So when Srila Rupa Goswami says, Yadarham Ubhayunchade, so we use our karma yoga, the activities for the Supreme Lord. So we are taking everything, karma yoga, jnana, why we are, so we are listening, hearing, practicing, going through the Bhagavad and Bhagavad Gita, the jnana attaining, values to bhakti, and that's also part of Shravanam Kirtanam, is also part of jnana. Jnana yoga is there. When we say Ashtanga yoga or Dhyana yoga, that's what this chapter is, which has Ashtanga yoga is nothing but yama and niyama. So yama is the, the rules which we are supposed to follow, and niyama, which we do not supposed to follow. Niyama is we supposed to follow. And, then we mentioned about asana, right? So yes, I mean, we should at least some extent sit properly and chant. Srila Prabhupada was very much emphasized on that. Sit and chant. Sit straight and chant. So that gives more results, yields more results. Then pranayama, yes, it's helpful. I mean, if anybody does this every morning, you will feel that how good your consciousness would be. If anybody does, it's very powerful. I do that pranayam. I mean, inhaling and exhaling. Your mind, the consciousness will be so nice. 5-10 minutes in every day, if you can do it. So you get a lot of power in the lungs power and mental power and so many things. That helps a lot, pranayam. Then, dharana. Dharana means proper understanding of the scriptures, proper understanding of who is Supreme Lord. So you have so much of information. So when we follow this, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, controlling the diet, That means, tomorrow is Ekadashi. So devotees does that. Pratyahara means try to control the diet, means pratyahara. That means how we can survive without this, the mundane or this bhoga, right? Then dharana, the proper understanding, dhyana, meditation, and of course, those who are chanting the holy name, they focus, they hearing the holy name, dhyana, then completely immersed into the, samadhi, immersed in the Supreme Lord. So where the Bhakti Yoga is missing this. Bhakti Yoga doesn't miss any of this, right? Dharana, dhyana, samadhi. So Bhakti Yoga, see, everything is there in Bhakti Yoga. So one who performs, so you don't need to go to forest. You don't need to go to a secluded place. You don't need to, do any of these things that which is mentioning here in the Ashtanga Yoga process. It's quite strict, and one has to follow strict brahmacharya in order to really come to the Ashtanga Yoga, the siddhi. And if one who follows, there are 8 siddhis, right? There are ashta siddhis, one can attain it. Just by, even you can create a universe by the power of this. You can become smallest of the small. That's what Hanumanji did. Anima and legima. He can become the, biggest of the big. You can become, whatever the desires, if you have, that Lord will be fulfilled. You can destroy a universe with your power. You can create a universe with your this Ashtanga Yoga Siddhi. And you can travel in this universe. You can go to another planets. All this is possible by this Ashtanga Yoga. But that's all is possible by the Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga process, which is mentioned in today's class, it's combined everything together. And this is the easiest process. And one may take this all the other yogas by climbing up the stairs. But if you take the Bhakti Yoga, it's all included. So you get what happened, the benefits of all together in an, elevator, right? If you take an elevator, boom, you don't need to climb up the stairs because everything is included in this Bhakti Yoga. It's an easiest process. This is actually, sometimes we say that neti, that means renounce everything, renounce everything, renounce everything, renounce everything, renounce everything. It's quite difficult in this material world. But on the other hand, Bhakti Yoga, utilize everything, use everything for the service of the Lord. Use everything. Use your body, use your mind, use your intelligence, use your properties, use your wealth, use your health, use your everything for the service of the Lord. So one is okay, reject everything, reject, neti, reject, I don't want. It's especially in this age of Kali, it's very difficult process. But on the other side, use everything for the service, use everything for the devotees, engage. This is a wonderful process. So this is that, this takes us to the, we are in the shore of the material ocean. We are on the shore. So now, sometimes what happens when we go to the shore of the ocean, you just get into the water. Sometimes you get the water, touches your feet. Sometimes when the tides are up, so much high waves, it covers you. And then there is a strong wave comes. You completely entangled within the waves of the ocean. You don't know then how to come out of it, then you will suffocate and die. So that's all this in this world right now. We are on the shore of this material ocean. We don't know. Sometimes this big waves comes, big, strong currents, strong waves, all takes us and drags us. This is what is all materially, this is called material energy. So we are on the shore of it. So by this process, what happens is takes us, this is a boat. So what happened, there is a good nauka or a boat. We know that this can cross over the, the current of this, or the, the power of this ocean. So we say we can safely reach to the other side of it. We are on this side of it, material ocean. So other side of the material ocean, that's what is we are mentioning about the spiritual realm. So by the controlling the mind, body, intelligence, our senses, so what happens through, we can cross this ocean, material ocean, and we can reach on the other side. That's what is this highest bliss or the eternal, eternity and the bliss and full of knowledge, and it's all mentioned. We can reach there. So if we practice it. So Bhakti Yoga is the key. Bhakti Yoga is the way. Bhakti Yoga is the goal. Right? And Bhakti Yoga is the course, and Bhakti is the effect. So Bhakti is the everything. That's it. Thank you. So please try as much as you can. Yes, we are all bound by this our life, our asrama, grihastha, so many things. But try as much as you can, so that gradually we get there. Right? But never ever lose that track of it. We should progress, and we should promote ourselves and progress ourselves, on the higher planet, the higher, ladder, so that way we can reach there. Is the Kirtan link? Is this the Kirtan link? Is it Janaki Mataji to us?
It's Vicky Mataji was asking for a Jagannath Astakam from yesterday, so
Oh, I see. Okay.
I was just sending that to her.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else has nothing to add? This chapter is so wonderful, and Krishna is concluding this chapter with beautiful words. Right? Anybody knows that the 647, the verse? No? Saddhavan bhajate yoma same yukta pramodana yoginam api sarveshu adgadendratmana. Out of all these yogis, one who worship me in his heart with full devotion, he is the greatest of all. Yoginam api sarveshu adgadendratmana. Saddhavan, with faith and devotion full of it. Bhajade yoma same yukta tamo madaha. That's Lord's opinion. Yeah. So this process, this is a wonderful process which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu put together. This process of Bhakti Yoga, and this is the cream of all. This is the essence of all, cream of all. What is that process? Anybody knows this Bhakti process? What we need to do every day? Anybody knows what we need to do every day in this Bhakti process?
Chanting.
Yes, that's one of it.
Smarana,
Yes,
Kirtana,
yes.
Vishnu. I don't know the last one. But
Smarana, yes. Yeah. Pada Sevana. Anybody else? Archana, right?
Yeah, Archana,
Vandanam.
Sakyam, Dasyam,
Manivedanam.
Atmanivedanam.
This is the process Sri Prahlad Maharaj instructed his friends. What is Bhakti Yoga process? Prahlad Maharaj instructed this. Do this every day. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedam. Simple process. Shravanam, listen. Kirtanam, glorify the Supreme and the devotees. Chant the holy name. Kirtanam, also glorification, chanting the holy name, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Shravanam. So you are going through 5 weeks of Shravanam festival. So beautiful, so nice. Shravanam, lot of transformation, lot of purification. Smaranam, meditating upon Supreme. We chant, when we see the Lord, when we go to the altar, the Lord's beautiful form is coming to our mind. Many times I think, what is this mind? You know, and what is the substance of this mind? What is created by the mind? Yes, you know that our body is created with some physical elements. What is this mind of? Scientists come up with that. Yes, this is something like neurons and other things. It's a network of so much of. It's like Guru Maharaj once says that it's a universe. The entire universe is in your mind. You can hold it, right? So much of information it can carry our mind. Have you ever thought of this? Lifetimes after lifetime, it actually carries this into our mind. So powerful and so vast. It's holded, isn't it? You think about it like if you have a water in a container, you need a container, you're just holding it, right? So our brain, our mind is something like that. It is actually the position of the mind is heart. You know, it's heart, not the brain, according to scripture. I heard about that. Position of a mind is, that Sri Krishna says, I am seated in the heart.
Then what is up here then? What exactly is up here?
That's brain, intelligence.
Intelligence. Okay.
Mind is part of the soul. It's in the heart, the region of the heart. So it's quite nice. So, you know, just remembering means that Sri Krishna says that I am seated in everyone's heart. From me comes remembrance. See that the word connected? Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto madhas madhur jnanam apohanam cha vedeshu sarve rahameva vedyo vedanta krit eva vedacha. I'm seated in everyone's heart. From me comes remembrance. See? Forgetfulness comes from me. Knowledge comes from me. It's all holding in the mind. It's part of the soul and part of the spirit soul, and it's all part of. So this mind, you know, everything is there. You see, the knowledge is there. It's just a matter of just, you know, like sometimes it comes into the light, sometimes it sleeps in the dark. We don't remember, we don't realize anything. But when we practice it, when it's all come into the upfront, all this knowledge. Yeah. So remembering Krishna means that we are with the Krishna, because that's the mercy of Krishna. Pada Sevana, any service which we do is Pada Sevana, that means serving the lotus feet of the Lord. You know, the Tulasi Devi is so powerful and great. Why Lord is so much obsessed with Tulasi Devi? Because of Tulasi Devi is always serving the lotus feet of the Lord. When Krishna never leaves even the abode of Vrunda is, of course, Tulasi. Vrindavan. Lord resides in the abode of Tulasi only because of the service of the Tulasi to the Supreme Lord. Even it says that even Lakshmi Devi leaves sometimes, service. But Radharani may not be there always with the Krishna. But Tulasi is there always with the Krishna. Why? Because Tulasi is always doing the Pada Sevan and the service to the, always serving the lotus feet of Krishna. Pada Sevanam. Archanam means offer the articles, flowers, everything to the Supreme. Archanam, offer. Vandana, obeisances to the devotees. Dasyam, servitude, servitorship. Serve the Lord, cook the bhoga, offer nicely, and devotees. Sakyam, be friendship with the Lord. Don't think that Lord is, you can talk to the Lord, you can realize Him, you can meditate Him, you can talk to Him, and you can. One time I was in a Juhu temple. I was staying there, and there is a Rukmini Vittala, especially Vittala Lord is there. So every morning I go there and I sit there and chant, not in the front of the altar, but I sit in the Vittala. Then I came to this realization that he is my friend. So when I was leaving the Juhu, then one of my friend brought me the deity of Lord Vittala. And I brought it here, and then I was wondering, this is very, awful. And so when we say, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that if somebody says, "Oh Lord, you are mine," Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying that, I would do menial service to that devotee, not only to his devotee, that entire village he resides, that I would go and do the very menial service even to that, devotee and to the villages of that devotee. So it's very wonderful that we say, "Oh Lord, I'm yours, you are mine, I'm your friend, you are my everything." It's a wonderful, we are establishing the relationship that is friendship, Sakyam. Arjuna was a great friend, and likes that one can become the greatest friend. So there are 5 kinds of relationship, right? That's called Sambandha. So every devotee has a relationship with the Supreme. Every soul has a relationship with the Supreme. It will reveal. In due course of time, this will be revealed to each and every devotee. Depends on when he progress in his in his life. Yes, Mataji, yes, I do have Rukmini Vittala. I do worship every day. It's in my home. So this is the then Atma Nivedana. So surrendering unto the Supreme. So by this Sambandha Gyan or Sambandha, the relationship, then we can progress further. This is the greatest gift of the Bhakti Yoga. We can establish a relationship with the Supreme. There is 5 kinds of relationship. Shandarasa, Malos, that means we all can have the Malos with the Lord. Dasi Rasa, Sakya Rasa, Valsalya Rasa, and Madhurya Rasa. All the Lord's close Gopas and the Gopis and the associates and the Manjaris and all close associates of the Lords are either one of these. Cows are serving the Lord in Shandaras, trees. Govardhan, the Yamuna, cripples, bird, the parrot, all they were serving in the Dasiras, the Shandaras, neutral. And then Dasi, devotees, take this relationship and consider and establish this. Yes, I am your servant. Let me allow, please engage me in your service. Right? So Prabhupada says one of the meaning of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is nothing but the total is 3 Yojanas. Nothing but what is that? Just please engage me in the service, right? That's Hare Krishna, meaning of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Oh, internal potency of the Lord. Oh, Srimati Radharani, please engage me in Krishna's service. That's the meaning of Hare Krishna. It's so nice, this process. Yeah, please try to engage as much as. And this is real knowledge, absolute truth, beyond these material conceptions. Only bhakti can, only the loving devotional service unto the Lord can take us back to His service, eternal service. There's so much to talk. I mean, yes, the time is constrained. So, thank you so much, Surabhi. Wonderful class.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Do we have 2 minutes? Can I ask a question?
Oh, we have all the time, not 2 minutes. We can discuss all night about the Supreme. I never get. I mean, I can't go with. I cannot go just like that.
No, thank you, Prabhuji. So the question I have is, so I was just reading Bhagavad Gita, and when it came about the relationship, like as a child, or you can develop any relationship with Lord in the form of a child, or you can have be a parent or anything. Right? So one was like you can be either an active devotee or a passive devotee.
Right.
So just want to understand the difference between that. I mean, what is a passive? Yeah.
Active and passive, yes.
Active and passive, yeah.
Surabhi, you want to go?
Hare Krishna. That's such a beautiful question. I think that Smash Prabhuji, you probably know more, but I was just thinking, just like there's this verse in Brahma Samhita, Yam Krodha Kama Sahaja Pranayadi Priti, Vatsalya Moha Guru Gaurava Sevya Bhavai. So it goes through all the different forms of feelings. So there's Krodha, Kama, Moha, all of these negative emotions. And then there's Sahaja, Pranayadi Bhiti. So like there's fear, all of these passive emotions. So for example, an atheist might look at Krishna and see nothing, and Krishna appears to him like that. Or for someone perhaps in the Islamic faith, Krishna will appear as Brahman or Allah, who's like, however they would like them to appear, they will come. So I think that's what they mean by passive versus active, where active is these different forms as Krishna and the Rama and the devotees' feelings for them in that way. So that's what I was thinking of active. But whatever, I think that's such a beautiful question. I'll let the other devotees also answer. Thank you so much, Mona Mataji.
Yep. Yes, that's true, Mataji. Yes. I mean, when the active, I mean, it itself actually clears that active. That means when you come to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna and worship the Supreme Lord, is an active. Passive is, that means indirectly worship the Supreme. There's a difference, direct worship and indirect worship. So when we worship the Supreme with this all 9 process of bhakti and worship directly, and these are all the active or direct worship of the Supreme. But sometimes, one person goes like just for a sacrifice, which is actually, we offer to the sometimes demigods, some we offer to this and all. This not direct, but indirect, which is, eventually reach back to Krishna. So even if you take in this ladder of like this 5 relationship, like Dasi Rasa, Saki Rasa, Valsilya Rasa, these are all active. In the case of like, a creeper in the Vrindavan, so they are waiting the Krishna to come and, walk on the creeper, on the grass. So that's a passive service, a passive rasa. It's indirect. So out of this, Dasya, Sakya, Valsalya, Madhurya, these are active. And then we can say that Shanda is a passive, indirect. Is it clear, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you, Subhi Mataji. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
So, Prabhuji, one follow-up question,
Please,
right?
please, please.
So, say Kansa, Ravana, they were like enemies, like they were kind of thinking of Lord in the form of an enemy.
Yeah.
Do they come in any of these categories, or they're not devotees, of course, but they're constantly, that smaranam is there, right? In a
Yes.
direct or indirect way.
Yes, correct. Yes, that's true, Mother. Kamsa got a Sarupya Mukti, you know that?
Yeah.
Kamsa got a Sarupya Mukti. Not even, usually, the demons, when they get the Sayujya Mukti because of, first of all, they killed by the Lord. Second, they were always, enmity, always thinking, of the Lord. But in an unfavorable way, an indirect way, or passive way. So they usually get the Sayujya Mukti. But Kamsa got Sarupya Mukti. That means he got 400 Vishnu form. Because of, even though Kamsa was thinking about Krishna 24 hours a day. Like always, So that made him, and it is also in the the Bhagavad Gita, it says, right, Amdakale chamameva smaran mukta kalevaram sa prayadis samat bhavam nahi astra samsheha. That means whatever the consciousness one has at the time of death, he will attain without any doubt. So Kamsa was thinking about Krishna at the time of death, seeing Krishna, meditating in his meditation full of Krishna, that, Krishna is, I should kill him, or somehow I should kill him in a pain of this. Even though Kamsa was in a passive, but he attained the Sarupya Mukti. Pudana became the mother of Krishna in the spiritual world. That Pudana became the motherly position in the spiritual world. So the intention was to serve the Lord with milk. So Krishna doesn't matter actually, like whether favorably or unfavorably. So then, Krishna accepts that, the cream of it. Yeah, this soul meditated upon me. That's good enough. But the difference is actually the devotees are very dear to Krishna, right? And they would engage into this active or, the direct service of the Lord. They get an opportunity to serve the Lord. But unfavorably, they also get liberated, either Sayujya Mukti, mostly Sayujya Mukti, because they merge with the Supreme Lord. Not the Supreme, they merge with the Brahman effulgence of the Supreme Lord. So then what happened, there is a chance that they fall down into the next, then they goes through again, another life cycle. And they have to, but they won't enter into the realm or the abode of Krishna, but they are on the peripherals of Krishna. They merge into the Brahma effulgence of the Lord. And there is a great chance that they would come back to this material world. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very informative. Thank you.
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so anything else? Anybody else has anything to add? Okay. So then let's conclude today's session. Thank you so much, Surabhi Mataji. Nice class. Wonderful. Nice discussions. Nice questions. So let's pay our obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarupasya kripa sindhubhye evacha patidanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnavrinda ki
Jai.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananda
Jai.
Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Gaura
Jai.
Premanande. Hari Hari.
Hari Hari Bol.